Hello everybody, welcome to this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with various type of win for the Winter Major Tournament here in Golf Clash the game. Video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic, and make sure that you do hit the thumbs up button if you do like the video. Also subscribe to the channel for free and turn on the notifications. You can get the ultimate tournament and tour guides by going to patreon.com/golfclashtommy, link directly in the description down below. Follow the info box on the right hand side that will give you the club distance adjustment, the elevation adjustment, also a ball and club type I suggest you to play with. Have in mind that these are all suggestions. You don't have to follow it if you don't want to, but there is always a plan behind it. Make sure you comment in the comment section below with any type of question, and you can also send an email to support@golfclashtommy.com and we will most definitely help you out there. Let's go to hole number one. For hole number one, I will give you several options here, honestly. And we will start with the version when we do have headwind in any shape or form, because having headwind means that we cannot reach over the water in one, and then we're going to have to lay up. And I'm going to play with a rock with 1 bar of backspin, and then I will be applying overpower based on how much I do adjust into overpower as a start. Max plus 15 is what I'm using, and here you can see that we're getting very far up on the fairway, which was the plan, and this was to position ourselves with a short iron towards the pin. Unfortunately, I only have the thorn level 9, which is a problem here because I'm going to have to play very close to the rough line to even see that I do have an opportunity to use the topspin. And also look at all the glitchy spots here. There is definitely no way here to find a spot that is without the glitch. So we're going to have to somewhat just make an educated guess here to see where we are at. The Hornet would be a better club as it has more topspin, then we can back up and it gives us more more alternatives to line up our shot. Medium distance with a 15% over adjustment will be somewhat what we are playing that shot, and we just barely missed that one on the left. Have in mind though that obviously the club distance will change depending on where you end up after the drive. The second one we will look at is a long iron shot here, and that is with the Grizzly in this case. And here I once again would advocate for having, a B52 or maybe playing with the Goliath if you end up to be in close to minimum distance of your club and you don't maybe have the top spin enough and such. But I don't think that's going to really be an issue when playing with the Grizzly in general. But here we do have the same type of problem. It is extremely inconsistent when it comes to with the ball guideline, and something to just have in mind that maybe we should think twice. Should we playing this route? Maybe we should be going left side and bounce on a bumpy fairway towards the pin. I don't really know. We'll have to see once the tournament starts. Regardless though, even if it shows a glitchy line, we definitely have a good chance to drop. If we do have any form of tailwind, we shall go for it. I would stretch that towards having a crosswind with higher level type of driver. I'm gonna take a look at a shot here where I go for a green in just a bit. For the more aggressive option, here we do have a northeast wind, more crosswind than we do have tailwind, but we shall just go for it regardless. I'm using the white ring by the rough line, 6 top, 2 bars of left spin. Adjustment is maximum distance plus 10. Once that is done, I will push up to max when we do have a northeast wind. No overpower whatsoever, but I will add half a ball of curl to push the ball back and especially to compensate for a great right with this type of wind. If you do have a straight tailwind and playing with a 240-yard driver, you shall not be pushing up to max whatsoever. You should just play without push up at all, because the thing we need to have in mind here is the extended ball guideline we will have when we do have a tailwind, and that almost cost us to roll into the rough with this shot here. And I would say that we shouldn't be pushing up to max there either. So we need to be very careful with how we push up here, because if we do have any form of crosswind or tailwind with this type of shot, I would say that if we don't get an eagle here, we should be massively disappointed. Play with whatever driver that gives us the most power. I play with Apocalypse as it gives me the most power, but that might be different for you. For hole number 2, you will see two versions of a play here. First, we start just before +1 with the quarterback. Blue ring by the rough line to the left. 2.1 bars of topspin and 3 bars of side spin to the right. Adjustment is the top row in the info box. Maximum distance, no elevation. Which equals 1 to 1 minus 0.2. So 7 rings for 7.2 miles per hour. Bounces nicely on the fairway, gets up there, and it rolls down here towards the pin. Unfortunately, we are not having the speed enough there, so we need a little bit more topspin there to not fall down for the pin there. But again, you know, playing left side is most definitely something that I do not enjoy as much with the winter version, as for its inconsistency there on the green or on the fairway compared to what it usually be, because that's usually money. So I actually found another route which is very interesting, and I would recommend to play with a special ball here. And I'm using one right spin and 0.2 bars of side spin, 0.2 bars of backspin in a direct crosswind. Starting with the top of the yellow ring by the rough line, ball guideline is approximately 1 green square right of pin. Max +5 is what I'm doing here, and it's still power 3 numbers, so that doesn't change even though I play with a power 2 ball. And then perfect ball, and even though we do have the trees there, we will not be clipping the tree when we do have a lower type of wind. Obviously a direct tailwind and such will not clip the tree either, and this one becomes very close. And I really like the line, as there wasn't really any inconsistent, like any bumps and stuff like that to adjust for. So that line is definitely going to be very interested to use, or see if we can use when playing in the tournament. Sure, I do think we can play without using a special ball, but that is at least what I focused at when played it before the tournament starts. So 2 options for hole number 2. For hole number 3 in headwind, this is going to be a very difficult hole to get some type of chance for an albatross, but obviously we will give it a shot. We start by using 6 bars of topspin, 3 bars of side spin to the right, and you will use the driver that gives you the most power. Especially in headwind, that's going to be extremely important. Right side of the ball, just outside the wall to the right, and I apply 4 rings of overpower when it comes to direct headwind like this. But the thing that you do obviously is that you apply 1 ring extra overpower based on how many rings you adjust into overpower. So if you adjust 3 rings into overpower, you do adjust 4 rings of overpower when you take your shot. Second shot, we play with the sniper if we do have it in level 9+, otherwise we will have to go with the big dog or the cataclysm to make sure that we do have the power. In headwind, we will, regardless of what wood club we have, we will be applying overpower here. In headwind, use 2 to 3 bars of topspin and max side spin to the right. If you don't use topspin and just trying to rely on the ball guideline, that will fool you and it will clip the rough and then roll short for a very difficult wedge. So make sure to use topspin enough so you do get over the rough line and get yourself down towards the green. But you will still have an easy eagle putt just that you get to green. But I've seen so many shots and I've done the mistake myself so many times that to use, okay, it shows that it will, you know, it shows that it will not clip the rough, but it still clip the rough due to the compressed ball guideline. Because when we bounce on the fairway, the second bounce is so long, so the wind is going to affect that ball guideline massively, or like affect the ball massively and then clip the rough. In tailwind, obviously, it's going to be the opposite direction as well, that you might need to aim very close to the rough with your second bounce, as it will be an extended ball guideline. In crosswind, you follow the ball guideline as usual. Tough par 5, we play for the eagle in general. Sure, there will be some different type of winds where we may push the drive a little bit harder and see if we can't get a better look for the albatross from distance. But as a general rule, take an eagle, be happy. For hole number 4, we will depend so much on what type of wind angle we're gonna have. And we're gonna take a look what we're gonna do in southeast wind, which in my opinion, I think is the toughest of the winds, as we're playing in the wind with our shots. So first, I'm using 3 bars of left spin, 1.8 bars of backspin. You could see that the ball guideline is showing that we would roll way past the pin, but that's not gonna be the case. Red ring by the rough line at the bottom right, half of the blue ring at the top left out on the fairway. Ball guideline is approximately 1 green square to the right of the pin. Adjustment is max with no elevation, which is 1-to-1 minus 0.2. And you can see that speed-wise comes in beautifully, but we need to move our target a little bit more to the left to get that ball to drop. This is a tough par 3, where once again we can play many different type of rough bumps, but I would recommend a couple of things. The rock, use the rock in direct headwind, because otherwise you will go in between clubs. Otherwise the quarterback would be the best type of club to play. In tailwind we can play a sniper shot to bounce over the rough and sand, but I do feel that the rough bump will be my go-to play regardless what wind, at least as a start. For hole number 5, we will be having a good chance for making an albatross in my opinion. And we start by using the rock. 4 bars of top spin, 2 bars side spin to the right. And we start at plus 10 with the blue ring by the rough line. If you play with the rock level 8, you start at plus 11. Playing with rock level 7, you start at complete max. Adjust max plus 10. We will not be using any type of overpower or underpower, but we will be using half of the ball inside the wall to the right. The ball will bounce nicely, and we're looking to get this ball up to approximately a yardage that will give us medium distance for the second shot, which is going to be 350 to 355 yards. 352, now we need to estimate the club distance, and I'm using 1 back, 1 right spin, and using the red ring by the rough line, aiming for the pin. You can see here that there is a little funnel there in my opinion, so if we just catch it, we should be having a fun time there. Unfortunately, I go and play with minus 15% elevation here and medium distance numbers, but we should have played minus 20% instead. This is a bit finicky, but I do believe that once finding the correct adjustment to get this ball to drop, I feel that this is going to be very easy to replicate and get several drops from that. So you need the first drop, and then you're gonna be most likely be dropping that one a lot. So minus 15 was a little bit too much. We need minus 20 and estimate club distance based on your position. Obviously, when we play a linear way on this hole, you should be able to use yardage notes. But to be able to use a yardage note, you need to have a first drop. So everything gets back to the first drop is needed. But once again, hole number 5, I think is gonna be by far the best chance for an albatross on the green of point. For hole number 6, if we do have a tailwind, we shall go for it. Use a power 5 ball, otherwise you risk clipping the rough with the second bounce, even if you do have a good driver. I'm using 6 bars of top spin, 2 bars of side spin to the left. The reason I'm using 6 bars and not more when I have more is to make sure that those of you playing with a lower level type of driver, but still has 6 bars of top spin, still can play this type of shot. Max plus 10, and then we push up to max. And here I'm not going full overpower, I'm using 4.5 rings of overpower and half a ball of curl to the left. Bounces nicely on the fairway, and we're getting it up as we want to. Obviously we need to think here, how far do we want to get it up? Like either we want to play with the wedge, or we want to play with a short iron towards the pin. I would like to play with a short iron and go for the dunk. That's my go-to play in this type of scenario, but now I will be in between clubs, so I'm forced to play with a wedge. Now when I do play 20% elevation true distance of club, so I'm using the spin to pin, I'm using the beginning of the green as my first bounce, as playing further back will give me a glitchy roll towards the pin, and I don't really want to have that. So 20% elevation, we adjust according to our club distance, and once that is done, we will obviously, in that case, hit perfect. 12 rings is what I adjusted for those that want to know that. Perfect ball, and we're getting this one lovely right at pin for a beautiful eagle here on hole 6. So, what adjustment should we go with if we do play with a short iron and go for a dunk? Obviously, we cannot play max distance. We're gonna change that max to min. And then we're not going to play over adjustment, we are going to play an under adjustment instead. We're going to see where we do have that. We have it there and there. So minimum distance minus 20%, and we play with a thorn to get ourselves the backspin that is needed. If we do have a headwind for the drive, we cannot play the route shown here on the screen. We have to lay up, and then this hole is going to automatically become just a birdie hole, as we going to have a very difficult time to have a good line towards the pin if we do have a headwind, as we will not have space on the green to go with a backspin as we want to. So this is a difficult one in headwind and in crosswind, I may say, but when it comes to tailwind, this is, in my opinion, a must eagle. For hole number 7, the final of the par 3s, you will see two options, one from the left and one from the right. And we start from the left, and I'm using the rock. You can play with a quarterback here as well, and that is the club that I would suggest you to play with, because again, the quarterback does have same power, same accuracy, same ball guideline, and that's going to be very helpful. The rock does have a different type of power depending on club level. 4 backspin, 2 bars of side spin to the right. I'm using the blue ring by the rough line, and we're somewhere in no man's land in terms of our position there, which is obviously difficult to set it up in the correct way. That's going to be easier on the right, but again, we do adjust, unfortunately, a great left. And what means with great left is we're going to hit the hill further up, which means that the ball will be pushed more right. And therefore, we will miss this shot to the, above the pin, instead of getting that one close to the pin. I would say that with a perfect, that would have been super duper close for a drop. But my favorite route that is to be played with any type of wind that comes right to left, or direct headwind or direct tailwind, is what we're going to take a look at now. So from playing from the right hand side, we will still be using the quarterback. The only thing that we will change a little bit is our adjustment, and obviously the spin setup as well. So we do move it, so we have the red ring by the sand trap line to the left, half of the blue ring inside the rough to the right, 3 bars of side spin to the right, and we will play 2.5 bar backspin. Now you can see that we're looking to have the ball to come into the top right corner to then fall down towards the pin. Very important when you do have tailwind, especially when wind coming right to left, is that you do have an 11:59 pull angle. If you don't have that, you will risk clipping the rough with your first bounce, as you do adjust from a lower to a higher point. Minimum distance with a 20% over adjustment. We bounce nicely on the fairway, and it gets up to the top right corner, falls down, and here, from there that we came in, there is a massive funnel there, in my opinion, and this one rolls right in for a lovely hole-in-one. So if we can play from the right side, we're gonna do that every single time, because that is going to be far superior when it comes to making the hole-in-one compared to the left-hand side. For hole number 8, I will give you two options. One where we will utilize the wind and use backspin towards the pin, which is the recommended route in tailwind, in my opinion. We take away the risk of obviously bouncing too far, trying to go for the double bounce to pin. So we're using max backspin, max side spin to the right, and we're playing with Apocalypse level 8. Have in mind that this shot can be played with a quarterback as well, with some minor modifications. But Apocalypse is what I'm using here now, and that is the one that you can go with Apocalypse level 6, 7, and 8, or you will have to change to the quarterback, which most likely in a tournament scenario will be the club. There is a chance making a hole-in-one here, and as you can see, max plus 10, we go with in that case, curl as well outside to the right, and we land ourselves very nicely towards the green. The curl needs a little work if we're gonna get it closer towards the pin, obviously, but it's gonna be a safe eagle. If we do not have the driver to play the shot that I just showed you, which is unfortunate if you don't, then we're gonna have to do a double bounce, and this is gonna be the same as we play in headwind and in crosswind as well. In tailwind, I play with a navigator ball here just to demonstrate that you don't really have to play with a good ball to get this ball nicely towards the green. You can also aim, and having a good ball guideline like with an Apocalypse level 8, you can somewhat aim for the ball guideline rolling towards the pin. And again, we can in tailwind play this type of shot with the quarterback as well, but once we're getting up to headwind and crosswind, I would strongly recommend you to play with the driver that gives you the most power possible to make sure that you don't have to go in between clubs at all. So we bounce nicely close to the bunker. Maybe could have moved a little bit more left, but again, we land nicely on the green regardless for an eagle. And hole number 8, no matter what type of wind, headwind, crosswind, tailwind, should be getting an eagle here. In tailwind, this is going to be a bit fun because then we're definitely going to push, try to play for an hole in 1. So yeah, interesting one for hole 8, but again, regardless, what we think, we need to get an eagle here. Hole number 9, and we're gonna play on the left hand side. I'm gonna explain why we're not gonna play on the right hand side, because I know there will be players out there wondering why don't we play right hand side, which was money the last time we played the green of point this specific hole. But we start with the rock. We use a top spin, we use side spin to the right, and we use the red ring by the rough line to the right as well. You can see here that I'm basically using the second bounce as a guide mark, having that just clipped away by the rough, knowing that when the wind is coming left to right, and that I will in that case use curl to the right as well, that we will miss. Max plus 10 is what I'm using, and then we will have the ball bounce nicely on the fairway, getting it down towards the fairway, towards the rough line. And obviously we don't want to roll into the rough, we just want it to stop there. It's okay to be there, you know, like we could have gone a couple of more yards and stuff like that, but in the end we're just playing this one safely for an eagle. We're gonna use a side spin, gonna use a little bit of top spin here, trying to get the ball up to the corner of the green to have it fall down towards the pin. Very technical, very difficult shot to manage to do well every single time, but we are gonna give it a go. 2 bars of top spin, 3 bars of side spin to the right, max, no elevation for the second shot. And once that is done, we will then go with curl. So we're having right side of the ball, so we can see half a ball of curl to the right, perfect ball. And we see the ball bouncing nicely on the fairway up towards the corner to fall in. We need a little bit more topspin or a little bit more curl to get into the green sooner, so we don't lose that much speed that we did here. But again though, it is a very difficult one to drop if we play the left side drive. Why don't we play the right side then? Because there we could bounce over the water and then have a wood club shot to catch the funnel on the green. Unfortunately, there is another tree in the way now. They have more trees in the winter version than what they do have in the regular version of the green of points. So that road is shut. So this is the way to play it. If we do have a crosswind or a headwind. In a tailwind, we might could consider try to go for green directly, but that's going to be only with a straight tailwind, and unfortunately I don't have a video for that. So generally this is going to be a safe and boring eagle in my opinion. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Pro and Expert Division with various type of winds, where I try to show you different routes and different possibilities to play the specific holes of the green of point. Make sure you do hit the thumbs up before you go. Also subscribe to the channel, click that notification button to get a notification every time there is a new video as well. Video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Get the ultimate tournament guides for the winter major tournament for whatever division you may play on patreon.com/golfclashtommy, link directly in the description down below. Thank you once again for watching and good luck in your Golf Clash game.